Happy Friday, everyone, and welcome back to a Facebook Live session. I'm your host, 𝘺𝘰𝘯'𝘵, president and founder of Build a Dream. Our Facebook Live sessions takes the opportunity to talk to both women and men about their career journey, but also talking about some of their best practices in creating a more diverse workforce. Today's guest is a special partner and supporter of Build a Dream, and I'm so glad to introduce Brandy Coulsey from Next Dimension, an IT strategist company across the province of Ontario with also an office in Michigan. Welcome to the show, Brandy.
Thank you, Noor. Thanks so much for having me.
Well, I'm just so glad to have you on the show because we talk a lot behind the scenes, and we've been working very closely with Build a Dream for a number of years now, and you've played a pivotal role in helping us enhance our messaging to get more young women into tech. So I'm so glad to be able to have you here and to answer some of the questions.
Awesome. Me too. I'm excited to be here and to chat with you today for sure.
Wonderful. So let's first start off with, what does Next Dimension do? And how would you define some of the roles at Next Dimension?
So it's interesting that you asked that because Next Dimension's kind of gone through a bit of a, almost like a brand revival kind of, where we've really just wanted to sit down and do some soul searching and to understand who we are and what we can really deliver to mid-sized businesses across Ontario and Michigan and beyond. And we've really defined ourselves as CIO strategists, and we exist to support organizations to help them fill the gap between the server room and the boardroom. So,
and forgive me for my ignorance, but to the viewers that are tuning in, what's a CIO strategist?
So typically in mid-sized businesses, companies that are anywhere from 50 to 500 employees, they have a healthy and strong boardroom with a chief executive officer, chief financial officer, chief operations officer, and then of course they've got a key group of directors, marketing, IT, and other elements of business that are really, really important, but they typically don't have representation inside the boardroom at the C-suite level. So for us, we come in and we help those IT directors communicate their strategies and align their strategies with those that are in the boardroom. So we act as their CIO counterpart, but we don't need to take their job. We just need to help empower them to work with the C-level. And in turn, we help the C-level, the C-suite, see what their IT team is actually trying to do in support of the business overall.
And I'm sure you're beginning to see a significant shift in businesses' appreciation and also dependence on their IT team, especially during this time.
Oh, definitely. There are times where we've got clients where we're helping them to deal with adding remote capabilities, enhancing their collaboration, enhancing their bandwidth, and then they've got data protection concerns and of course security, and they're all facing brand new challenges that they never thought that they had to consider before. And we're also seeing that as things start to calm down and we start to learn what a new normal is, the days of having a 100% in-office workforce may be gone. So we may have to consider helping our clients work with a hybrid remote / flexible workforce once we do kind of get back to work.
So have you guys seen an increase in client inquiries and partnerships since COVID broke out?
I think the answer is, initially with a level of panic and uncertainty, you kind of get some people reaching out because they're just not sure. They don't know what they don't know. They don't know what they need. They don't know what's applicable and what makes sense for them. They don't know what they can afford. They don't know what their billables and what their cash flow is going to look like. So I think we've been managing a consistent level of phone calls, but the conversation has changed from a pure panic to okay, here's where we're at. How do we best handle the situation we're currently in, and how do we best improve for the future of our business?
And what are some tips that you could provide to companies that have tuned in terms of how to build out their remote workforce while still building out the IT infrastructure that is needed to be successful in that remote workforce?
I think it's really important first to take a real intrinsic look inside your organization and understand what your business needs are. Gone are the days of the salespeople opening up the trunk and saying, look, I've got this latest and greatest widget that does this, that, and the other. Really take a look at what it is that your business needs. And when you have a real strong understanding of how you want your business to operate, we can then work with you or find an organization, find an IT company that's willing to work with you and offer you the solutions that make sense for what your business needs are, not just what's the best piece of equipment out there today.
Very interesting. And your role at Next Dimension is marketing and vendor manager. And you've been working in marketing, but within the tech sector for a number of years. What brought you into the tech sector and into your marketing role?
Well, I'm a proud graduate of St. Clair College. So, I'm an alum there. I graduated from the advertising program. I don't even want to say how many years ago. But I've been lucky enough to stay in the Windsor area my entire professional career. And I've kind of gone through broadcast into advertising agency. And while I was at the agency, I realized I really wanted to work with just one organization. I didn't want to be working on somebody's marketing plan and then putting that down and moving on to another one and not being able to really see it through. I think you and I can kind of relate on when you get your hands on a project, you just want to see it through.
Yeah.
So that's when I realized client side really made sense for me. And then I moved into tech. At that time was the industry that was kind of booming and had the opportunities for me to work, because as you know, high-level marketing positions, there aren't many in this area. And so that's why I probably started out there. But then I just really fell in love with being able to help companies run a better business. And although there's many great opportunities out there to do that, how else is a better implication of how it can help a company than driving a better tech solution.
That's amazing. And you know, our focus, which is why Next Dimension came on as our official technology sponsor, we're trying to get more young women to consider career pathways in science, technology, and engineering and math. And we're beginning to really work out on our resources and tools to help parents help their daughters navigate all these different avenues and opportunities. And one thing we often talk about is, yes, you could go into computer science, but even if you are a marketing major, you could apply to work for a tech company. So what advice do you have for youth that are still uncertain about their actual career path, and how do they open more doors of opportunities for them?
Well, I'd love to be able to answer you by telling you what Next Dimension does, because I think what we've got is a really great plan that I think other companies can look at adopting on some level for themselves. And that is that when we have somebody come in and work for Next Dimension, we don't do annual appraisals. We actually work with every employee in something called a monthly development plan. And in there, one of the key pieces of monthly development is our individual career paths. So we actually set individual career paths for ourselves with our team leads, line managers, and with our VP of people and culture. And what we do is we assemble what we believe our career path should look like and what we're interested in doing and learning, and the value we want to be able to bring to the organization. And then on a month-by-month basis, they work with me as an individual and anybody else on a one-to-one basis on how to achieve those goals and that growth. So if someone comes into Next Dimension with little to no technology background, but they fall in love with the idea of learning more about developing and deploying technology solutions, or supporting clients, or becoming a project manager, or what have you, we have the opportunity, the capacity, and the planning to teach people and bring people in and move them around the organization for what's best for what they're looking for a long-term career path. It's not just about, I'm working as a marketing manager, what's my next step up or a step over or a step out the door. We are not built that way, and we hope that more companies take an employee experience approach to how they develop their talent, because it's not about what you know coming in the door. It's your attitude and your competencies and how you work with others and how you treat the business and your colleagues and what you bring to the table and team spirit and things like that, that'll really make or break an organization.
Those are definitely invaluable life skills and even social skills that we often talk about when we're speaking with youth about how they can really stand apart in the workforce and in their role. And one thing that I really love that Next Dimension does do in our local community in Windsor, and I'm assuming it's across the province, is you take on co-op students from the University of Windsor, and you also work closely with the high school students as well.
Yeah, actually, it's interesting you mentioned that, because while we've always done that, this year, and it happened just before the pandemic really hit, we actually did something really different and unique, and we worked with St. Clair College, and we assembled something called Discovery Day, where we spent time at the college about 6 months before our actual day in the office. And what we did was we actually spoke with the second and third year computer networking students, who, by the way, in the room right there was 99% one-sided as far as gender is concerned. So the challenges fall, below post-secondary. So it's so great what Build a Dream is doing, because I can't wait for that room to be more women represented. But anyways, so we were in there and we were speaking with the students and letting them know who we were. And if you were interested in working in a company that has a culture like ours and you were looking to contribute to a company like ours, we opened up an application process, and we actually took 8 students in, and we committed our entire day, called Discovery Day, to those 8 students inside of our Windsor office.
Wow.
So we had a number of people inside our organization give presentations. Someone from our help desk talked about a day in the life of a help desk technician. We had someone in sales talk about what it's like, customer empathy and focus. I went in and talked about our corporate strategy and what we promise to our clients, and how every department supports that promise to our clients. And then in turn, those 8 students also made presentations to our management team, and they were able to make presentations on the topic of their choice. And it was really great to see their passion and their delivery and their communication style. And then in the afternoon, we did more technical and group work exercises, where a number of us from the management and executive teams actually sat and watched them to really see how they worked as a team, how they were troubleshooting, how they followed instructions. And at the end of the day, they were then given the instruction to fill out a survey and give us feedback the next day. And I'm happy to report that 2 people were offered positions and both accepted, and we're so excited to have them on board. They were supposed to start on Monday, but we've moved their date because it's really not feasible for us to onboard them effectively at this time. But we can't wait to bring those 2 on board.
What an amazing opportunity, especially for students to put themselves out there as early as while they're in school, and then network with invaluable companies like Next Dimension, and which can then eventually lead to a job offer. And that's something, working in education, having worked at the college and the university, I'm often encouraging students to take advantage of the days where we have companies on campus. It's amazing sometimes to see that you bring on a company onto the campus and the room is not packed. And it shocks me, because this is why you're in school. You're in school to then eventually work for these companies. And what better way than to start while you're studying?
Mm-hmm. And we were actually at the career day as well, the joint event by St. Clair College and the University of Windsor.
Yeah.
And it was really interesting. We had one particular person that was coming up to our booth. He stepped back and I watched him. He Googled us, And then he was like kind of flipping through. He was looking at us and flipping through. And then he came up and he had some great pointed questions. And I said, I saw you looking on your phone. And he said, oh, I'm sorry. I said, no. I said, that's fantastic. The last thing I want to do is to answer questions, what do we do? It's written on our board behind us. So it's great for someone to use the technology they have and use the opportunities they have, and to take that moment and to ask, if you were given an opportunity to speak to somebody and ask them any question, what would you ask? Those are great thoughts to have, for sure.
So that's amazing. And you're definitely invested in not just getting students and new graduates into your doors, but you're invested in getting more females into the tech industry. And you've traveled with us across the province in the fall, and you were supposed to come with us also in the spring to recruit more young women to increase their interest in seeing this as a pathway, so that when you go to a college campus and you're speaking to a class, you're not speaking to 99% male students, but there's a gender mix. That being said, what are some things that really stand out to you when students come up? So you talked about them being prepared with some really great questions. What are other notes that you make that you're like, I'm really impressed with this candidate or with this student?
Oh, let me think back to those Build a Dream days, because I love those events. And you know what, like, we pack the car, we hit the 401, we're in and out in 24 hours, you know, feet are tired and everything else, but they're great events. And it's amazing to watch the girls interact with their families. And it's interesting to see the fathers and them really kind of opening their eyes to a room full of career opportunities and options that they weren't expecting. Yeah. And they watch their daughters and just allow them to kind of explore how they would want to. And then we've met so many moms who, as a second career, have gone into more of these STEM fields. And they talked about how they did something perhaps more traditionally female, which there's nothing wrong with. I'm in business and marketing and I love it, and I'm not doing anything technical. So there's nothing wrong with a traditional role. But for so many that have originally thought it wasn't an option for them, being able to see that it's an option for them to do it themselves and then encourage their daughters, or for them, the parents that are just so open-minded that allowed their daughters and encourage their daughters to explore a room full of opportunities that weren't there a short time ago.
Yeah, and I love how you talk about that interaction between families, because that's my favorite part of the event. And I love when they come up and they're like, I didn't even know that all these career pathways were available for my daughter. And it was so great to see companies like Next Dimension invested in her future. And that encourages parents who might be a little bit reluctant, thinking, well, if it's a male dominated company, like, how is my daughter going to be offered a position, and what's the work environment going to be like for her? Because, you know, as parents, you're very protective of your child and you want them to succeed, but you also want to keep them safe. But these events and having partnerships with industry sends a much stronger message to families and young women that they do belong in the industry, and that there are companies committed to seeing that happen and diversifying their workforce. I just love it. So for those that are just tuning in and you're not familiar with the Build a Dream Career Discovery Expo, that's an event that we host, that we've been hosting since 2014, started in Windsor, Essex, where we invite parents and their daughters to come learn about career pathways in the skilled trades, science, technology, engineering and math, emergency response, and entrepreneurship. They get a chance to meet female role models who share their career journey. They then get to network with amazing companies like Next Dimension. They also get a chance to do some hands-on activities with colleges and universities. The University of Windsor and St. Clair College are other proud sponsors of Build a Dream. And then they also get to do some photo booths and we give out giveaways. And it's a really interactive, fun, empowering, and inspiring event. And thanks to Next Dimension and their willingness to constantly help us grow as an organization and support young women, we are launching our first digital virtual conference. And I have to say this, Brandy, because you and I chatted the Thursday or the Wednesday before who even announced that it was a pandemic.
Yeah.
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 And
Yeah.
I remember calling you and kind of in panic and saying, Brandy, what do I do? Like, there's 6 events coming up. This is going to hit Build a Dream really, really hard. All of the events had been completely planned. We were just in the process of finalizing registrations.
Yeah.
And I just really appreciated how you took like about an hour to just walk me through what you were doing as a company, what you were hearing in the industry, and then help me see a future beyond what the actual in-person event could look like for Build a Dream. So walk me through some of the advice that you gave me that day, because I think those that are still, do you remember some of it, or I could?
I remember some. I'm a planner girlfriend. Like, recall is not my strong suit, but I do know that my first thought was the first large event that was in the GTA that had a positive COVID. You were there, and so my immediate concern was you and your well-being and your family, and the thought of, if you, in such a business in such its infancy, if you were to put something out and someone was to get sick at your event, you are not doing this because you're money hungry. You're doing this because you care about those young women and their safety and their well-being and their successful futures and all of these great positive things that I just knew you would not be willing to jeopardize anybody, your own staff, the stakeholders. But that didn't mean that it had to stop. It just needed to be delivered in a new way. And I'll let you add the rest.
Yeah, no, and that's amazing. And you know what? In times of crisis and in times of challenging decisions, and you're right, like, coming back to the safety of the people that we serve and then the team and then myself and my family was key. And as difficult as that decision was, I would never look back on that decision and think I made the wrong decision. We made that decision actually really, really early on internally. It was actually the next day before it was announced as a pandemic that we were collectively coming together as a team to see, okay, what's going to be the impact when we cancel. But it's so great for us as an organization in such an infancy stage of scaling, because we always would talk about it in the office. Once you make it in Toronto, you could really make it anywhere, just because it's such a large city.
Yeah.
And we were hosting a number of different events. And the first thing that gave us the courage and the confidence to be able to say that we could host a digital conference and take what we did in person online was because I knew, because you said to me, if you need help with anything and how you pivot the organization, you call on Next Dimension. Yep. How powerful is that? And so Vicky talked to you, our marketing director talked to you, and you said, okay, yeah, I'm going to connect you to Cisco, our contact at Cisco. And so similarly, Ellis Dawn, another corporate sponsor who's our official construction sponsor, did the same thing. They said, yes, we're 100% in. We'll connect you to our Cisco partners, and let's all work collectively together. And now Cisco came on board as a partner and a sponsor. So you were able to help us bring the right resources and support together so that we could have that ability to launch this event that I genuinely can't wait till it happens, because like, I don't know if you know this, but we're already over almost 1,000 registrants.
Oh, that's awesome.
Isn't that, I mean,
oh, that's so
awesome. Crazy. And it's like, it's more than a month away. And so for those that are tuning in, go to buildadream.com to learn how you could register for our free digital conference, which essentially what we're taking what you would get in person online. And for all female-led businesses that are also watching, and you have a product that we could purchase to give away the day of the conference. We are invested in buying products from female-led companies to support you and also showcase your company to 3,000 attendees that will be tuning in that day on May 27th to learn about these different career pathways. So just get in touch with Build a Dream at info@webuildadream.com. And talking about giveaways, if you are tuning in and you have a question for Brandy, we are giving away a prize. We're going to give away a gift card to our dream shop. We have some really cool shirts, some really cool swag.
Oh, the t-shirts.
The t-shirts. So all you have to do is ask a question and you'll be entered to win a prize, a gift card, and you can pick what shirt you want. So Brandy, we talk a lot about the work that Build a Dream does, but why do you feel companies like Next Dimension need to come on board to support the recruitment of women into the industry?
Can I pull my mom card? Because I'm going to say to you the same thing I tell my kids. If you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. It's as simple as that. Awareness goes a long way. It's really difficult to unlearn something. It's really easy to put blinders on. It's really difficult to unlearn something. And the only way that we are able to really learn and build ourselves is to, we're shaped by our experiences. I dare you to come to a Build a Dream event and not have it have an effect on you in some way, shape, or form. We have brought men, women, members of our executive team. We've brought staff from multiple offices, and they all have come away with their own unique experience. And really, I mean, to have an opportunity to open your eyes to what's available, what's an opportunity for you? How do you know if you don't go out there and actually experience it for yourself? An event that doesn't cost anything or much to get into, and as an organization, the amount of connections that you made. We've made friends. We've got booth buddies that I'm going to miss this year, and I'll tell you that. We have made some friends with other booths from other places. And we would have never made those other corporate connections if we weren't there all supporting the same cause. If you don't know the story of the scientist who's now providing makeup who wanted to be an astronaut, then you have missed out. And you need to go and participate at Build a Dream events so that you can learn and hear amazing stories and understand what could be possible for you, for your daughter, for your niece, for whoever.
It's so amazing how you highlight our organization and the impact that the event does have. And it makes me so happy because it is my favorite event of the year. I might be biased, but I just think the beauty of Build a Dream is watching the eyes of young women light up as they see an opportunity unfold in front of their eyes, and they believe and are encouraged and inspired to see themselves in these positions. And the amount of young women that now I speak to that went the engineering route, went the IT route, went the skilled trades path because of Build a Dream, it's what really encourages us and motivates us to keep pivoting when we need to pivot, because this conversation matters. And we still have a lot of work to do to get more young women to see themselves in those positions. So I just love that Next Dimension really, like, you guys went really big in supporting us. The first year you did, you're like, okay, let's do this. And then you went even more the following year. So it's great to see that the staff and those that are involved from the Next Dimension also believe in the vision of our organization and the important role that they play in helping us diversify the workforce.
Mm-hmm. And every single one of them, especially those who have other business contacts, like those on our account management and our business development teams, they've reached out to their own contacts saying, have you been to this? Do you know about this? You should be here. And especially those other female leaders that are also in IT roles and working for healthcare and working for automotive and working for, and it's great because then those, that referral just helps that much more build a dream and build the overall initiative. As corny as that was, but hey, it really does. It helps to just kind of get that engine going, right?
Mm-hmm. So, and we talk a lot about on this show, especially with women in the industry, about the importance of confidence and building your confidence and that self-awareness, to be able to feel that you can achieve those goals or pursue your dreams. What advice do you have for women in general who are maybe struggling with their confidence, and reluctant to pursue something because they feel it's not the right time, they can't do it, they don't have the support? How can they build their confidence?
Oh man. First of all, find yourself a newer, find yourself somebody that you can talk to, find yourself a support system, find yourself a support system, find yourself 1, 2, 3 people that you know, like, trust, respect, someone that'll motivate you, someone that will teach you, and they may be all in one person, they may be a few others, and look it up. Like, I can tell you right now, in my own career, we have brought on somebody who is a fantastic member of our executive team, our vice president of sales and marketing, and I've learned so much, and he values learning. And so for me to take the opportunity in times like this, now that I'm working from my kitchen, to really, as he calls it, sharpen the spear, find what it is that you like, find a way to learn more about it. And it doesn't always have to be thousands of dollars worth of schooling. I've gotten 2 certifications under my belt for marketing, and neither one of them costs a dime. And they're very valuable information. So invest in yourself. Give yourself the time. Give yourself the permission to explore things that you enjoy. Ask questions. If you know someone who can put you in touch. I told every single person that came through for that discovery day, and any females that are at Build a Dream, I handed out my business card to I don't even know how many young women, and just said, if you have questions, if you want me to try to connect you with somebody who I know, I'm happy to do that. If you have a genuine interest, someone has a genuine interest in talking. So that's it. Just
For
to
sure,
find someone to talk to, and then find ways to improve yourself.
I think it's a common thing that we keep hearing. The only way you could really build your confidence is to really put yourself out there and get comfortable with the uncomfortable and meet new people, ask questions, and in time you begin to find what you like and don't like, what really sparks your interest or your passion. So a question just came through from Maria. Do you think that showing young women video games on a PC instead of a console or a mobile is a good way to introduce them to computers at an early age?
So here's my answer to that. And I'm not going to say to go look it up, but really an interesting concept to maybe consider looking up to digest a little bit more is a digital immigrant versus a digital native. So a digital immigrant are people like Noor and myself who grew up before technology was in our hands. We have to learn it and understand how to adapt it to our lives. A computer PC versus a tablet or a phone, it's just an endpoint device. And it's interesting because businesses are now working kind of from the same function. Whether it flips and has an attached keyboard, or it's all on one screen, or however it looks, it's a device. And your kids, our kids, I have 3 boys, our kids are digital natives. So they are growing up with technology all around them, and it's controlling how they are logging in. It's how my kids are continuing their education. It's how thermostats are run. It's how we're checking doorbells. It's technology is just there, and so I don't think it really matters the endpoint device because for them, being digital natives, it's just there. There's no learning for them. They just expect it. When they purchase their car and they get older and they purchase their car and they're going to look at it, they're going to expect a device to be there if I was to tell that to my grandfather, are you kidding me? What do you mean? There's no computers. I don't want a computer in my car, right? And so that's just the difference. And when you're talking about the fact that technology is just inherent in their lives, it's really an interesting thought.
It's really true. And someone else I had on the show talked about how switching the mindset from the phone or the tablet being a toy and seeing it as a resource, so that youth and kids can start using it to maximize their learning abilities and their interest and in the way they navigate. So I thought that was really interesting, because there's some really cool applications right now coming out that are really, it could be challenging. They teach you new things. Like I downloaded Lingo Kids. I've said this, I think, a few times on the show, for Adam, and he's not even 2, and he loves it. He loves interacting with this application, and teaches him ABCs, the 1, 2, 3s, the colors, all the basics. But seeing the application as a tool, I love when young women, or even just women that have pursued engineering or the trades or the tech industry, one of the things they often say is that they were curious at a very early age, and that environment that they were in, whether it's in school or with their family, enriched that curiosity and helped build on those curious thoughts. And that way they were able to continuously pursue their interest and passion as they went into grade school, high school, and then finally deciding on the career path they want to do. So curiosity, I feel, is really key, and really embracing curiosity is amazing. Oh, thank you. That was a great answer. Perfect. So before we head out, one of the things that we've been doing with those that are from Windsor is asking them what their favorite local business is that they've been using during COVID-19. So whether it's your favorite restaurant, grocer, wine, beer, whatever. Let's give them a shout out. I think we really need to support our small businesses. So who's been your favorite go-to so far?
Okay, can I give you one that's open and one that's not? Because I need to tell you who I miss so much. Yeah. See, I'm a big negotiator with you. Thanks. So my first, honestly, shout out that I have to give is to Goligers Travel, and it's a women-owned franchise.
Wow.
We've had 2. I was supposed to be in Vegas today. I'm supposed to be at a pool in Vegas right now. This is good, but I was supposed to be there.
I would like to think this is the second best scenario.
Oh, it's so close. It's so close. But we were supposed to be in Vegas, and then we also have a New York City trip that got canceled. And when you have a travel agent, I don't sit on the phone for 4 hours. I have heard the horror stories of people having to wait. I send an email, and I get something back going, yeah, we've looked at it, or nope, they haven't come due yet. When it comes due, we'll let you know what your options are, and da-da-da. Like, it has been so painless and so worth and you don't pay extra. Like, just call them. I love them. The ladies in there, they call them vacationistas. Like, they're just amazing. And if I was to tell you the company that I cannot wait to come back, because they've closed right now, is Plant Joy. And if you have not talked to Jordan and her vegan donuts, oh, I miss her.
Listen, donuts are my favorite, and Plant Joy donuts are our go-to for every celebration at the office.
Oh, she's amazing. My first interaction with her, just to tell you, because I talk a lot, my first interaction with her personally was a year ago on Mother's Day, when I had put in an order, and she had to email me 8 hours later at nighttime and say, I'm so sorry, I can't process your order. And I was like, I didn't say anything, but I was like, kind of crushed, kind of bummed, because I'd walked in, I'd been there a few times, whatever. I've posted on Instagram and tagged them in it and tried to show some love. But I'm telling you, that girl called me at 10 o'clock the next morning, and she said, is this Brandy? I said, yes. She said, I don't know how we did it. She says, but me and my team, we worked all night long, and I will make you whatever donuts you want. What time will you be here? And I'm telling you, I'm a customer for life, right? It's how you treat people.
It is.
Honest to goodness.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And you know what, for anyone that's listening, I didn't even realize Plant Joy was closed. That's really sad. She's so good. Definitely Plant Joy, Jordan. And she's a really young entrepreneur who's done really well. Like her donuts, sometimes there's a lineup just to get in.
Oh, I've waited in the line. I know it well.
Yeah.
Do you check out her story? I don't want to air out all her story, but check out her story. She went really deep into medical school. She was really deep into a medical career, and and then talk about a pivot. And and she's got a really interesting business story. So
cool. You know what? I'll definitely have her on the show then. Maybe Jordan, if you're tuning in or if you're listening to this, would love to have you on the show and hear this journey of yours. Sounds really cool.
Yeah, and make me a donut.
Make us both a donut. That's the only. Yeah. I don't know. It's so actually today is the first day of Ramadan, where we fast from sunrise to sunset.
And I'm talking about donuts.
And you're talking about donuts, and Brandy, you're making me so hungry. No, but happy Eid Mubarak. Ramadan Mubarak to everybody, and may this month bring so many blessings. I know it's going to be a little bit challenging because we can't have iftar with the entire family. It's usually a huge feast and everyone goes to everyone's house, but hopefully we'll be able to do some self-reflection and soul searching during this time, which is what it's about, and really project compassion and kindness during this time. So Ramadan Mubarak to everyone. But thanks for making me hungry. I'm definitely going to have a donut tonight from somewhere. Anyone that has a donut,
right?
Send me a message. But Brandy, we could talk forever, and oftentimes we do talk for a long time. But I really appreciate you coming on the show and for all your help in helping us launch our first digital conference, which I can't wait to see how it unfolds. For those that are tuning in, I guarantee it's going to sell out in the next couple of weeks. So dreamathome.eventbrite.ca. It is a free event, and it's catered to grade 7s through grade 12s. And it's just going to be a jam-packed evening event that's going to really closely replicate the in-person event. So I guarantee you'll be inspired, you'll be encouraged, you'll be motivated, and you'll build some contacts that will last you a lifetime. So definitely register. As I mentioned, Next Dimension is our one of our presenting sponsors for the event, and we couldn't have done it without them, Ellis Don and Cisco. So we're very grateful. And actually we're going, and I need to send you the email, but we're going to be hosting. We're going to be coming into your office to do it. And you're taking all the COVID measures to help us do that. Because otherwise we would not be able to do it. So using that infrastructure, because we don't even have it. So thank you so much. For anyone that's looking to work within the tech sector in Windsor or across the province at any of their offices, reach out to Next Dimension. I'm sure you could see from Brandy's interview today what an amazing company and workplace culture they have. And speaking of, last thing I'll leave you with, you talked about your VP of People and Culture, Andrew Ford.
Oh, he's our sales and marketing,
Sales and marketing. So having the time to, during COVID, so I've finally done school. So this was the next book that I chose I was going to start reading. And he works for Next Dimension and actually offered us to, once we read the book, for him to give us some additional training. So that's my next go-to, is by Andrew Ford. So
nice. It's a great book.
Yeah, I'm excited to read it. I've been wanting to read it since I got it last year from you. So, okay. Well, anyways, thanks everyone for tuning in. Next week, we have a jam-packed week. So check out our website or all of our social media. We're going to continue on giving away some prizes and encouraging our viewers to ask some questions. You can also ask anonymous questions. That's okay if you don't feel comfortable asking in the chat. And we look forward to hearing from all of you. So make sure to give us a message at info@webuildadream.com if you're interested in being a guest or know someone that would be interested in being a guest. I look forward to seeing you all next week, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Thanks so much, Brandy. Bye, everybody.